This is the oldest warehouse on the site. This is a genuine 1825 building, as you can see from the black spores on the wall. It's a bacterium that you get that thrives on alcohol. You don't see much of it in Scotland as such, but if you go to France and see the cognac, it seems to thrive much more readily out there. But there is quite a large percentage of it in here. This is really a transit warehouse, but at the moment we've got a fair selection of casks in here, American barrels, hogsheads, wine hoggies, and even butts behind me. And that's the way we operate. We most of the peaty Edradour goes into American barrels, but we do fill it into other casks. But standard Edradour would have a basic filling of sherry casks. That's Oloroso sherry casks, which are not cheap these days, and that's to carry on the tradition, because you must stick with the thing that is your bread and butter, as it were. And 10-year-old Edradour is the bread and butter of this distillery. There's no question of that. But people do come and ask us now, what have you got that's new? And that's caused the growth of finishes. People are being much more discerning and while they like their basic whiskey from the one distillery, they do like to have variations from time to time. And we are satisfying a little niche market for Sauterne, Marsala, Gajabarola, and all these different finishes.
Can you explain what a finish is?
A finish is where the base whiskey from the distillery has been matured for say 8-9 years. If it's a 10-year-old whiskey in plain or refilled oak, and then it's taken out of that and transferred into a wine cask or a finish cask for however long you want to have it. And that's where the judgment comes in, of knowing when to stop the finishing and put it into bottles. And Andrew Symington has a skill in doing that. He's got this knack of instinct and experience of knowing when to put it into a bottle. We've got 7 or 8 different finishes on the go at the moment, but of course these will run out, because you don't generally use the cask again. You can probably only use them twice for finishes, and then the cask are probably for that purpose anyway. The cask has to move on to something else. But if the stock has been, the whiskey will be mature in plain oak right enough, because it'll have done the evaporation through the wall of the cask and so on. And it might lack colour, and it might lack a little bit of sweetness, and that's what these finishes add to it. If you let ride wine, like I do, then I can quite happily sit and sip a port or a Burgundy finish in the evening. And we even have one that's been 19-year-old in plain oak and 2 years in a port pipe, and that is something else. That's something to be enjoyed and savoured over a long time. But again, it's an older whiskey. But it's I don't know what you call it, a fashion trend or or whatever, but I don't know how the retailers cope with it, but
consumers certainly like, and it's a difficult thing to get right, because you come across some finished whiskies which really aren't very pleasant.
That's right, I know, and that's the judgment, that's the skill in judging when it is right, and we so far Andrew hasn't got anything wrong, which is quite gratifying, really.
Yeah, an expensive mistake.
Yes, it could be. Yeah, especially because the whiskey. If you don't have blending facility, then I don't know how you would get how you use it. But no, it's judging the time of bottling correct. Yeah.